Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is cooking. A pot is boiling. Bread is baking. Vegetables are frying. Meat is roasting over a flame. Cooking feels so normal that we rarely stop to think about it. But have you ever wondered something strange? Who was the first human to cook food? Who looked at a piece of raw meat and thought, what happens if I put this into a fire? More importantly, how did cooking change humanity itself? The answer takes us back hundreds of thousands, and perhaps even millions of years into the past, to a world without kitchens, without stoves, without recipes, without restaurants, a world where every meal was eaten raw. And surprisingly, the discovery of cooking may have been one of the most important moments in the history of our species. Some scientists believe it helped create the modern human brain itself. Let's begin at the very beginning. Long before modern humans existed, our ancestors were hunter-gatherers. They survived by collecting fruits, roots, nuts, seeds, insects, and occasionally meat. Everything they ate was raw, at least at first. Raw food has one major problem. It's difficult to digest. Think about chewing a raw carrot versus a cooked carrot, or raw meat versus cooked meat. Cooking breaks down food before it even enters the body. It softens tissues, breaks apart fibers, and makes nutrients easier to absorb. But millions of years ago, humans hadn't discovered this yet. So how did it happen? The most likely answer begins with fire. The oldest evidence that humans controlled fire is still debated. Some archaeological sites suggest controlled fire may have existed over 1 million years ago. One frequently discussed site is Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa. Researchers discovered burnt bones and ash deep inside the cave. Some evidence suggests these remains are roughly 1 million years old. If the interpretation is correct, early humans may have already been controlling fire far earlier than once believed. But even if humans could control fire, that doesn't automatically mean they were cooking. After all, a campfire can provide warmth, protection from predators, and light at night. Cooking may have come later. Imagine an early human group gathered around a fire. A piece of meat accidentally falls into the flames. The smell changes, the texture changes, the appearance changes. When someone finally tastes it, something remarkable happens. The meat is softer, easier to chew, easier to digest, and often more flavorful. Even today, cooking triggers chemical reactions that create hundreds of new flavor compounds. What we call delicious is often the result of cooking. The famous Maillard reaction, for example, creates many of the rich flavors found in roasted foods. Although ancient humans knew nothing about chemistry, they certainly noticed the difference. Over time, accidental discoveries became intentional behavior. Humans began placing food near fires, then directly over fires, then eventually developed more sophisticated cooking methods. But cooking didn't simply make food taste better. It may have changed human evolution itself. One of the most influential researchers in this area is biological anthropologist Richard Wrangham. In his book, Catching Fire: How Cooking Made Us Human, Wrangham proposed a revolutionary idea. Cooking dramatically increased the amount of energy humans could extract from food. This matters because the human brain is extremely expensive. Although it represents only about 2% of body weight, it consumes roughly 20% of the body's energy. Large brains require large amounts of calories. Raw diets make it difficult to obtain enough energy efficiently. Cooking solves this problem. Cooked food provides more usable calories. It requires less chewing, less digestion, and less energy to process. Some scientists believe this allowed early humans to support larger brains. If true, cooking wasn't merely a cultural invention. It was an evolutionary turning point. Evidence from anatomy seems to support part of this idea. Compared with earlier human ancestors, modern humans have smaller teeth, smaller jaws, and shorter digestive tracts. These changes suggest a growing dependence on softer, easier to digest foods. In other words, our bodies may have adapted to cooking. And once those adaptations occurred, there was no going back. But cooking affected more than biology. It changed society. Think about what happens when people gather around a fire. They stay in one place. They communicate. They share food. They tell stories. Many anthropologists believe fire became one of humanity's earliest social centers. A campfire created a unique environment. People could remain awake after sunset. Predators stayed away. Conversations became easier. Knowledge could be shared. Children could learn from adults. Some researchers have even suggested that language itself may have benefited from these nighttime gatherings. Whether or not that's true, fire almost certainly strengthened social bonds, and stronger social bonds improved survival. Cooking also increased food safety. Raw meat often contains dangerous parasites and bacteria. Heat kills many of these organisms. Although ancient humans didn't understand germs, they likely noticed a simple pattern. People who ate certain cooked foods became sick less often. Over generations, cooking became deeply embedded in human culture. Different environments produced different cooking techniques. Some groups roasted food directly over flames. Others buried food in hot earth. Some developed primitive ovens. Others boiled food using heated stones. Eventually, cooking spread everywhere humans went. And with it came extraordinary creativity. By around 12,000 years ago, agriculture began appearing in several parts of the world. Now humans could cultivate crops, store food, and settle in permanent communities. Cooking became even more important. Grains such as wheat, rice, and barley are difficult to consume in large quantities without preparation. Cooking transformed them into bread, porridge, and countless other foods. Entire civilizations were built around cooked crops. Ancient Egypt depended heavily on bread. Ancient China developed sophisticated cooking traditions centered around rice. Ancient Rome relied on grain-based foods across its empire. Cooking had become inseparable from civilization itself. But perhaps the most fascinating question remains. Could humans survive today on a completely raw diet? Some people have tried. Researchers studying raw food diets have found that obtaining enough calories can be difficult. In one study published in the scientific literature, many participants consuming strict raw diets experienced significant weight loss. Some even developed signs of insufficient energy intake. This doesn't mean raw diets are impossible, but it highlights something important. The human body appears highly adapted to cooked food. Cooking has shaped us for so long that it feels almost natural, because in a sense, it is. When we think about humanity's greatest inventions, we often imagine the wheel, writing, agriculture, electricity, the internet. But cooking may belong on that list too. Without cooking, our ancestors may never have developed the energy needed for large brains. Without cooking, human societies may have evolved differently. Without cooking, civilization itself might not look the way it does today. Every restaurant, every family dinner, every birthday cake, every cup of tea, Every loaf of bread, every warm meal, can be traced back to a discovery made long ago beside a fire. A discovery so ancient that no one knows the name of the first person who made it. We don't know who dropped the first piece of food into a flame. We don't know who first tasted cooked meat. We don't know who first realized that fire could transform food. Their names have been lost forever. Yet their discovery changed the course of history. Because the moment humans learned to cook, food stopped being merely fuel. It became culture, community, tradition, build, and perhaps one of the most important technologies our species has ever created. The next time you eat something warm, take a moment to think about it. You are participating in a tradition that may stretch back thousands of years. A tradition that helped shape the human body, the human brain, and the entire story of civilization itself.